What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Game On Invitational. This is Game 2 in the best of 3. Yellow Submarine now on the Radiant end, going up against Prodota. Prodota with a 1-game lead, as they, well, just pretty much just demolished Yellow Submarine. They didn't really got off the ground, Yellow Sub. Maybe just delayed item timings, maybe just they were always on the back foot because they were always initiated upon. There's a whole number of those things, but at any rate, we'll see if Yellow Submarine can push it to a Game 3. I'm Mike Loris. Going to be joined by MRP Dota for this second game. Is there anything that Yellow Submarine really have to change in this game? Because last game did not go well for them.
I felt like either the Queen of Pain or Centaur could have been replaced. I think there was a little bit too much onus on the Centaur to start the engagements, and there was just a sufficient amount of backline, especially with the Oracle, to kind of nullify that, one or two targets that the Centaur is going to go in on. And then the Queen of Pain just far too squishy to jump in afterwards and sort of counter-initiate the response from Prodota side. So I don't know. I felt like either of the two could have been replaced. The Slark seemed to do his job, but he just never got enough space and time. And couldn't create it, for that matter. The Centaur had, I think, a 17-minute blink, and immediately were able to get a kill off of it, but it just seemed so late at that point. The Doom ended up being a lot more effective with his level 6, so maybe it's not so much a matter of the pick, but just a matter of how starved out the Centaur was.
And just going to the lane very early on, feeling a little bit too overconfident, ended up giving first blood. Not exactly a great start to any offlaner's time, let alone a Centaur who, I mean, he does have the option going to the jungle, and we did see that, but at the same time, even though he was jungling, he wasn't jungling as quickly as the enemy Doom, who made that call to jungle a little bit earlier, to be fair, but Centaur just wasn't clearing the jungle as fast, so he was always a little bit behind compared to where the Doom was, and Stampede, and it was casted pretty regularly in that last game, but I don't really feel like it had an impact pretty much any time it was casted. So just the inherent difference between having a kind of team-wide AoE global ultimate like a Stampede versus a Doom, I mean, could be felt for sure in that last game. But now the shoes on the other foot, Yellow Submarine are going to be the ones with the big bad Doom, but there are responses and then some from the other end. Beastmaster and Disruptor, two non-negotiable shut up, I'm talking spells in the Static Storm and the Roar.
Yeah, and Beastmaster in general seems to be favored over the Doom, I want to say. So I think Prodota, once again, are pretty happy with this opening. They have a lot of chase potential as well, a lot of vision granted to them both by the Thunderstrike as well as the Hawk, potentially. So I think thus far, that's going to be good. In terms of the Vision War, though, this is kind of, for a long while, at least in some of the H-Cup games I've watched, been considered the pseudo-counter to the Beastmaster, able to get up that Aghanim Scepter up on the Night Stalker. Then at least during nighttime and darkness, you're always going to have a little bit of an advantage over the Beastmaster, whether he has the Hawk or not, and can just eliminate those Hawks with a quick Void.
Yeah, Night Stalker, Doom, like outside of their ability to handle that Beastmaster, and just they're very tanky. Like they are very, very high HP. I mean, Night Stalker's a high armor hero as well. They're both really, really fast as far as movement speed is concerned. Of course, once the Scorched Earth is turned on, and once Hunter the Night kicks in during darkness, if you're a Disruptor, there's not much you can do except put up the field and hope it catches more than one guy, because if the Night Stalker's on top of you, you're in a lot of trouble. Disruptor doesn't really have a lot of damage. Beastmaster will get damage later on through his Necro Book, but early on in a man fight, not really sure if he's going to feel comfortable going up against these really heavy strength heroes. So it is going to be Prodota, perhaps with a little bit of a weakness in damage. It's not too late, of course, for them to pick up damage in spades, but they will need a lot if they're going to comfortably deal with this Night Stalker. And Night Stalker, I mean, he loves diving towers. If you have other tanky heroes with you, the tower dives just get so much more dangerous, since it's not just one hero going in, it's two heroes going in, it's three heroes going in, and you have to be able to respond to that if you're on the Prodota end. So interested to see how aggressive they're actually interested in taking this, because right now, sky's the limit for Yellow Submarine. They can just dive 24/7, 365. I would like to see a little bit of sustain from one of their supports in order to make that a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's a little curious that we haven't seen even more of a resurgence of the Night Stalker. I feel like infused raindrops actually just works so well with the hero, and his ability to dive gives him what he needs in terms of mana regen to stay on the map during that 4 minutes of nighttime, and also allows him to get a little bit overzealous and find good trades, having the magic damage absorb. So a definite potential for some aggression, as you mentioned there moments ago. The Alchemist ban actually going to come out here from Prodota side, which is an interesting one. The Night Stalker and Doom certainly are space creation heroes, and for that reason, maybe the Alchemist a little bit scary. And perhaps we are going to see a little bit of a later scaling lineup come out from Prodota, where the 40-minute mark, the Alchemist is very scary. I do worry a bit for the lane supports, though, of the Radiant side here. So I will see if Yellow Submarine actually put the Doom in the 3 role as it was last game. But if not, the safe lane could seem a bit susceptible early on.
Generally, Night Stalker and Doom, when they are played as the
Yeah.
4 position, play the exact same way. Like they'll occasionally hang around the lane, but come level 3 or like the first nighttime phase, once Doom gets a decent creep, they'll look to gank that mid laner. If it's someone like an Invoker that you can pretty easily kill off, it's going to be very difficult actually to deal with that. But you can only have one hero doing that at any given time. As far as babysitting supports are concerned, Doom and Night Stalker are not those types, so they will need someone else to fill those shoes. And I think I like Doom in the off lane with Night Stalker, 4 position just a little bit more. But now we have a bounty hunter from the pro Dota side. Kind of weird to see this hero in the third box. Usually it's
Yeah.
always in the first box in the ban slot, that is. But this is, a pretty consistent hero with the Beastmaster. Vision is king in this game, it seems. And even though the Bounty Hunter will run into some issues going into Oracle, once the Night Stalker gets his gem, yeah, that's not too fun. It does seem like Pro Dota are going for this very aggressive kind of timing push based game where they're going to look to get a critical mass of experience, namely level 6, on their 2 supports and the Beastmaster, then just try to out-tempo the opponents. That's very difficult to do up against a Night Stalker Doom draft.
So you've got a Night Stalker, potentially he gets an Aghanim's, but they've got Lycan Wolves, Bounty Hunter with Shadowwalk, and the Hawk from the Beastmaster, as well as, if you want to consider it a Vision Tool, the Thunderstrike from the Disruptor. So every single hero thus far in Pro Dota's lineup has some sort of tool to provide vision to their team. They have immense chase potential with the track, with the shapeshift, with the glimpse possibility, and as well as the Boar Slow helping out the Beastmaster. So when they do kind of hit their timing windows, if they're able to survive the laning stage well enough, this becomes a very scary team. In the mid game, and there is a decent amount of physical damage as well, with the Beastmaster and the Lycan being there to kind of bring down some of these bigger HP pool but low armor heroes like the Doom. So I don't mind the draft at all from Pro Dota so far. I think it synergizes well with one another. How it'll fare against these tanky heroes, I think, remains to be seen. But I think a lot of this game, at least from this opening early on, is going to boil down to how these teams fare in the laning stage.
Wind Ranger now trying to abuse the Lycan just a little bit. Windrun is pretty good up against Lycan until he gets an MKB or anything like that, and that's not for a very, very long time. So as far as a defensive hero is concerned, Wind Ranger certainly is that hero. As far as an offensive hero is concerned, she generally needs a little bit of time before she's really comfortable standing her ground and swinging at a Lycan or a Beastmaster, 2 heroes that are, again, very, very tanky. But, I mean, this is going to be just another kind of controlling type hero for the Yellow Submarine squad. It's a hero that Bounty Hunter really, really does struggle up against. You could land a Janata hit on the Wind Ranger, but that's probably the first and last hit you're going to land on her in the early game kind of laning control phase. So, yeah, the Wind Ranger, I feel, is a pretty decent pick here as well. Mid lane selection, though, for the Pro Dota squad. Something like a Death Prophet to try to take down towers a little faster. Do they have to worry about their fights a little bit more? I really don't know what is the best for them. Whereas for the Yellow Submarine team, I mean, there's kind of a shortage of hard CC on the Pro Dota side. Maybe they can pick up a mobile hero like, I don't really know if you want a Weaver here, but one of those types of heroes try to abuse that.
Yeah, Weaver, Slark definitely both work out pretty well. Mana burn from the Necros can be a little bit scary for the Slark, but in general, I think there are, definite options. And elusivity will probably be at a prime for sure. or mobility in general, I would say, even speed, just because there is a bit of a lack of CC aside from the Static Storm and the Primal Roar. One thing I would say is that this Night Stalker is generally early on going to assume that Iron Talon role, which kind of takes that away from the Doom, forcing him to stick around in lane and get as much out of it as he can. So, although the Wind Ranger will
Ooh.
definitely be resistant to the Bounty Hunter rotations, I think the Doom may actually be susceptible in the early game to the Bounty Hunter rotating through.
All right, well, even though the dire side are kind of low on the hard CC, they are also low on the AoE. They have Static Storm, Wild Axes. These are not things that
Mm.
you're really excited about when you have to deal with a Chaos Knight. So these Phantasm Illusions are going to be a problem. It's pretty much just going to be these two teams butting heads up against one another. In which case, Oracle's a pretty good hero to have in these situations. The sustain that you get just from Purifying Flames, the disarm on the Lycan through the Fate's Edict is going to be huge in this game. So, Chaos Knight, one of my favorite heroes, and I think this is almost as good as it gets for the CK. Now, the laning support phase, maybe, or the super early on, 10 minutes, prior to 10 minutes, might be a little bit sticky for the Yellow Submarine squad, but Chaos Knight is in a pretty good position here. Now we just have a last pick Invoker.
Mm.
Kind of bland, honestly, for the Prodota to finish. And I'm not sure if Invoker is really going to have the time of day. I mentioned earlier Night Stalker, Doom, both heroes that are very easily able to deal with an Invoker when they're looking to roam about. And Chaos Knight, Wind Ranger, they're all pretty much in the same boat as well. You do get the Howl synergies with the Forge Spirits, but that's about it.
Yeah, it allows them to push and Roche a little bit quicker. And maybe solves to some extent the AoE issue, that the AoE shortcoming that you were alluding to a moment ago. But just by his lonesome, the Invoker's not going to be able to clean up Phantasm Illusions, especially if they're created with the Armlet buff up. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know that there were all that many other options that were super attractive to Pro Dota's side, but it does seem a bit of a lackluster fifth pick here. There's still some very real team fight potential if they're able to hit this Wombo combo. So I do expect the Quaswex build to come out from the Invoker just because they really need the control, as well as the AoE. But either way, I guess it's going to boil down to execution in this one. Perhaps a slight draft favor to the Radiant because the game is just going to have presumably such a good time after he's able to pick up the 6. But I don't know. It depends on how well this Doom Night Stalker combo is going to do. And I feel like one of them is going to suffer because the other will have to occupy the jungle.
Well, nice shout out to Hakon, who actually has offlane in his name, letting us all know where the Doom is most likely going to land. I don't know why he has that in his name, but that would be kind of nice to have just every single person in Dota with a tag like that. It'll be very convenient for us, at least.
It'd be nice to be able to queue like that, honestly. Queue for rolls. But
Suddenly he's mid. What? He's gonna just blindside everyone with that shit. But I mean, it will be pretty interesting to see the mind games of where Hakon can actually end up. But yeah, the Doom and the Night Stalker typically playing, at least the goals that they want to achieve, typically tend to be fairly similar within the first 10 minutes of the game, pre-level 6, and maybe even like level 6 to level 10 type area. Bounty Hunter is always an X factor, so we'll see if Blizzard's able to really swing things in favor of the Dire team, getting a couple of kills here and there, getting Invoker far ahead, or Beastmaster to a fast level 6 can get you a huge edge in the game as well. But again, where are you supposed to go here as a Bounty Hunter? Are you going to try to gank the Chaos Knight? Are you going to try to gank the Wind Ranger with Windrun? Like, there aren't really many viable targets to go for as the Bounty Hunter, so I guess you just try to be an annoyance to whoever you can, but I don't expect him to actually do that much.
yeah, I think his only lane where he has potential is going to be the off lane. And I only say that just because it is difficult for them to have both the Night Stalker and the Doom in the jungle. The Night Stalker, though, he hasn't built Iron Talon early, as we see often in the Eastern scene, so he is going to look to roam. Perhaps, or be a little bit more roam heavy, perhaps in the early stages. And, you know, him Iron Talon jungling is just kind of an opening for Lizard on the Bounty Hunter to do something in this early game. And that's kind of all Bounty Hunter needs to do. He needs to disrupt some lane, soak some experience somewhere, you know, take a last hit away from someone jungling. But if he's able to do none of that and not pick up any levels, this hero becomes complete dead weight.
30 seconds to battle.
Not die in the meantime. That's a pretty big goal. He's going to see a handful of heroes. I think he saw the Oracle at least there. Maybe just thinking about blocking this camp, but Lizard, if he's stuck around a little bit longer, gets a read on where the detection is. He's going to see now there is dust. There is a sentry on the Wind Ranger. Oracle's packing other sentry on the Night Stalker. So Lizard's time is not going to be free. They're going to start off with the Fate's Edict onto the Invoker. He's only as Cold Snap level 1. Can take a Void and a lot of heroes beating him down. Flo's maybe not going to be the first blood. However, actually, no, he will. One more arrow shot. Not going to do it. Very Fire saves him. Another arrow shot is needed. They'll get the kill there. Now they're trying to focus down on the Doom. But with the Scorched Earth, he is not the target you want to go for. He's almost impossible to kill at level 1. Another Fate's Edict going to come in, hitting onto 2 heroes. Lizard dusted up, and he's going to fall as well. 2 kills for the Yellow Submarine squad, as the Prodota team try to tango with a Doom, a Night Stalker. These are incredibly tanky heroes with only a level 1 Invoker with Quas. You're not going to win that engagement.
Yeah, and they kind of scouted out the position of those heroes with the Bounty Hunter, so interesting to see them take that rune engagement. I thought Flo on the Invoker turned around and cost himself his own life there, but with the win run, maybe Magical is able to get it regardless. Now the Disruptor, Roger, he's going to go down as well. And this is a wonderful start for Magical. Uphill, not going to miss, but 8 HP left on the Oracle. Flow unable to find the return kill, and Quaswex build's got no Sunstrike to contribute there, so great start thus far for Yellow Submarine.
Man, Quas level 1 into Cold Snap level 1 used to be so insane, and that would have gotten him at least a kill over the course of this game, but those nerfs like a patch or two ago, and Invoker really wishing at this point that he had just a little bit of damage provided to him by a point of exhort or something like that. Would have gotten the kill on the Oracle there at least, but instead just randomly lose a Disruptor, getting hit with a fully charged Fate's Edict. Never fun times. It actually does do a reasonable amount of damage if you're able to charge it up to its max. Up towards top lane, Garter trying to go aggro onto Hakon, but again, this is a Doom we're talking about with a Stout Shield and a Ring of Protection in that Basilius. As much damage as Lycan does, Disruptor doesn't, so it's really difficult to dislodge both these two heroes, who are actually both taking to the off lane, and, well, so far not punished. Doom Lycan Disruptor, well, they'll glimpse back Hakon, and try to beat him down one more time. Right click from Roger. Let's see him, Disruptor. Thunderstrike does do quite a bit of damage. One more right click, they finally get their kill. Now they're beating down to the Night Stalker, who's trying to take down the Disruptor. One more shot is all he needs. Fairy Fire, he's gonna get the Void out. Guard is on his tail, though. With the Boots of Speed, he'll chase him down, grab 2 kills for the Lycan. And that, overall, is pretty darn good this time for the Prodota team. Lycan getting farm is super essential.
However, I don't think it's really that bad for the Radiant side. I mean, Hakon, he TP's in due time to be able to get almost a double wave underneath his tower. He picks up his level 3 now, and because he's got these levels and perhaps the Night Stalker as well, they're going to be able to pressure this lane heavily, knowing that the Beastmaster is in the jungle, and that's going to force the Bounty Hunter's hand over towards the top lane as well, which just means that the safe in the mid lane, because of the early advantage accrued by the Wind Ranger, are going to be just flat out won by the Radiant side. So I feel like a couple of deaths here aren't going to cost the Radiant all that much in this Radiant safe lane, as long as they're dragging over multiple heroes to have to alleviate the pressure on the Lycan.
I mean, there is a free farming Oracle down towards bottom lane. We saw the impact of a high level Oracle in the last game, and of course, I mean, a Chaos Knight. The issue with the Chaos Knight is that he doesn't really want to be farming for too long. You generally want to be fighting a little bit more so than farming, but I mean, you take your farm when you can get it, that's for damn sure. And the heroes on the dire end, I mean, even though the Beastmaster is really very easily able to jungle, that's, I mean, about it. They're getting only 2 lanes worth of experience, and even over towards the mid lane, even with this Lizard Bounty Hunter arriving, he knows that he can't do that much versus Wind Ranger. He tried. Even with a double damage rune, Wind Ranger just popped off Wind Run and then walked away. There's not much that you could do from that stage as a Bounty Hunter. So he's kind of caught in between a lane with 2 incredibly tanky heroes and a hero that has Wind Run, which I guess makes her tanky as well. So Lizard's kind of awkwardly patrolling around, this efficiency that this lack of efficiency on Lizard is not being shared by any of the supports on the other end, where Night Stalker, Disruptor, they're all pretty much actively participating in their respective lanes. Now towards top lane, Boogie arrives at half HP. Luckily for him, he's not going to get Reality Rifted back. RT's going to cast that instead on one of his boars. But Boogie's still sticking around, just trying to leech some experience. It's such a delicate situation for him. 5 seconds until there's another Reality Rift. I think he should be fine. And he will be fine, but yeah, so far it's just a pretty nice, clean start for the Radiant squad. First nighttime phase, so far not doing a ton, but maybe setting up for a dive onto Roger. Don't know if the Night Stalker actually saw the Disruptor go into the trees. Not sure if he wants to give chase there either. But this top lane scenario is completely abandoned. I expect Garter to hold the lane for a little while longer. Roger now gonna get dove pretty hard. Infernal Blade plus Scorch Earth. Shockwave's there. He's gonna try to teleport out. He will make it out, actually.
Nicely
So the
played.
Disruptor doesn't die. But now the safe lane is also sacrificed. Only so many heroes can sack their lane before you end up getting nothing in the game.
I'm wondering why Boogie even shows bottom lane. I mean, he was really close to level 6 in the jungle. I guess he's giving that space up to the Lycan, but I feel like you're more effective off the map jungling, where at this 5-minute mark they're kind of expecting it but don't know where the rotation is coming, and then you can smoke and make usage of that primal roar and maybe get a kill on the Wind Ranger, who's otherwise, as you've been alluding to, unkillable by a bounty hunter rotation. But I mean, now the Beastmaster is going to show that he does have his level 6. Going to sack the safe lane tower and try to farm up the Lycan in the jungle, and this bounty hunter, I mean, he's sitting at level 2 6 minutes in.
And up towards top lane, Doom and Night Stalker, I mean, clearly not the best pushers in Dota, but they are just able to run in unimpeded and just destroy that structure without losing that much of anything. They're going to find the Oracle down towards bottom lane, though. Thunderstrike going to give them the vision. Although he will purge it off, still gets glimpsed back, but just a little bit, doesn't get trapped by anything. Now the pullback onto Boogie is going to trap the Beastmaster with the fields going up. That's actually going to wall Artis from giving chase. Boogie will circle around the trees. We'll get a little bit of distance out, but the Night Stalker's coming in. He's big and bad, and he is pissed, looking straight for Boogie. Lizard in the meantime playing some games with Artis. No one dying just yet. The jukes are really good for Boogie, and he will get away. Roger not as lucky. In a corner between too many heroes, will fall. As the Dire side use their roar, get absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Even catching an Oracle out like that doesn't result into a kill. I mean, they only lose an Oracle, a Disruptor, which isn't that bad, all things considered. But like, what did they gain in the meantime? It just feels like for the Yellow Submarine squad, they're getting these kills, and this is exactly what they need to do. It's all they need to do. They don't really need that much farm in between these kills, as long as they're able to constantly keep the enemies down as they have been. And now they're looking for more. With the fresh level 6 on the Doom, they're running into the Lycan's direction. If he gets a shapeshift off beforehand, killing him off may not be happening. Garter is going to be spotted. Shapeshift's got to be used. He's going to get it off, and that means he should be fine.
Yeah, maybe even worth canceling the Doom there from Hakon, and that's actually kind of a big win for the Dire side. The fact that they used their roar to no avail, and there's still a Doom available on the other side, is pretty monumental. But now that they've kind of evened that up, and Artez, yeah, they're gonna find the Chaos Knight with the second roar of Boogie. That's gonna be a pretty large kill for them to be able to pick up, especially considering that their Lycan survives just a moment ago, and Guard are gonna be able to at least soak up and attempt some last hitting with the Lycan Wolves top lane. So things looking a little bit better now for the Dire side. They need to be careful not to give up too much, though, in this window where they don't have the Primal Roar. Bounty Hunter contributing to that kill bottom is a big deal as well. He picks up his level 4. Really do want that track by about the 10-minute mark, and he's going to be well short of that here, but at least makes it a little bit of headway towards that goal.
Invoker participating in that kill is also a pretty big game. Didn't have the easiest route in the early game up against the 3-0-1 Magical Wind Ranger, so all the experience you get on this Invoker is going to be much needed, and with the Wex Invoker you expect him to participate, helping out the bottom lane, helping out the Beastmaster, helping out the Bounty Hunter. It's all good times there. So if they can replicate that, I mean, they're going to be pretty good to go, but Oracle at a certain point with the False Promise coming up is going to make that almost a complete impossibility to make those kind of cheesy roar picks happen. So they got to take them when they get them. They're going to pull back Magical over in the mid lane. Field goes up, however, they cannot fight through the Wind Run, and they will just use the Glimpse into nothing. Invoker doesn't really have that much to do. Once Magical pops up that Wind Run, they're maybe not done yet here, though. Magical's gonna see Lizard, and Lizard's actually got to be careful because the focus fire is there. Lizard taking a beating from the Wind Ranger, gonna get a free kill for Magical. Kind of room service. Lizard just walks straight into die.
Yeah, and trying to juke out the power shot at the end just meant that he would just right-click him down with the focus fires. Lizard somewhat left for dead, and you at some point gotta expect the sentries in the mid lane. So, walking in, kind of eyes widening a bit when he saw that win run used, and Magical still sticking around in the mid lane. But 4-0-1 on the Wind Ranger now, top of the net worth chart, exactly where she wants to be. Going to be a major impact in terms of dictating the tempo of the game henceforth. And I mean, I totally understand going for that play if you have the Static Storm available, but without it, seems like a very tough kill to go for on the Wind Ranger, and not going to pay off for the dire side in that scenario.
Recently, we've seen Wind Rangers not opting to go for Aghanim Scepter, non-negotiable Aghanim Scepter first rush. Like, they'll accept a Blink Dagger, a Maelstrom, even Magical. Being so far ahead says, screw all of that jazz. I'm just going to go for the Ags, and he's going to get it pretty darn fast. A fast Wind Ranger Aghanim Scepter, perhaps the most important thing, it just reduces the cooldown to 15 seconds, so there's so much uptime there. They're going to grab the Doom on the top lane with the Glimpse. Static Storm still not leveled up for that, but bottom lane, a fight may be brewing. There's a roar here from Boogie. They've already cleaned, or the tower's already cleaned through RT's Phantasm Illusions. Looks like they can't make a play afterwards, though, so it's just going to be a Doom for a tower. Oh, across the map, Lizard's still spotting out Mata, though. Has Dust.